Welcome to You, But Better. Interviews.
We interview the most brilliant thinkers and highest achieving badasses on the face of the planet.
I have a dream that one day
there is an indefinable, mysterious power.
70 years ago.
Friends, Romans, countrymen.
You are the light of the world.
It's not just an interview.
It's the interview.
You, but better.
Hello, Better Yous. This is Seph.
And I'm Lex.
And we have a fantastic interview for you today.
I'm kind of freaking out about this episode. I think that this is going to offer more value to our Better Yous than we've ever offered before, and I don't say that lightly.
What our guest is an expert in is the number one thing that you need to succeed. If you do not have this tool, you will never complete anything. You will never finish anything. You will never see anything through. And there's one thing that we say here all the time. It's you better see it through if you want to be a better you.
Yes, I love that. That is so good. I'm telling you what our guest today is Tug Tuggerson. He is a master of focus, and he is going to help you put that missing piece together in your life, which is stopping you from achieving greatness and happiness, which is the inability to focus. So we're so excited to have him. Tug Tuggerson is the creator of the live radio show Folk Us.
Legendary.
Where listeners receive the gift of 45 minutes of uninterrupted focus time. I love that. Tug's goal is to teach people the power of the human mind to focus intently on one thing and thereby accomplish anything.
Amazing.
So backstory, Tug's show, Focus, started as an AM radio show in 2004. It could be heard within 200 miles of Silver Lake, New Mexico. It did not have a huge audience, but it had a very dedicated and spiritually aware audience, which is great.
Which is most important.
That is most important. Then in 2020, something happened at the beginning of the pandemic. One of Tug's listeners decided to start sharing his radio episodes as a podcast, and it freaking blew up. It brought Tug to a national, then international audience. Now Tug's radio show / podcast reaches 7 million listeners monthly. He has become America's #1 guru on the power of focus, and he just released his first New York Times bestseller called One at a Time: How to Use the Folk Us Method to Achieve Anything. Tug, welcome. It is our supreme pleasure to have you here.
Hi, I tell you, it's my supreme pleasure. First and foremost, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here, or calling me at least. I don't get many calls these days, so excited to talk to another human.
Wow, I have chills hearing your voice.
Yeah, you probably are very selective with the opportunities you take because you have to bring that focus into your own life. So we're really grateful that you accepted this discussion.
If there's one thing that I'm interested about, it's focusing.
Yeah.
And if you can't focus when you need to focus, what are you doing, huh?
Exactly.
It's a great question. I think it has no good answer. If you can't focus, you can't do anything. So we want to start off with your backstory and understanding your origin story. We love to understand a good superhero origin story. Now, we want to know how you got so good at helping people, and we want to start with the fact that you were a child tennis prodigy. You won the Tiny Tennis Wimbledon at age 9. So we want to know, was playing tennis as a youngster where you learned about the power of focus?
Andy Murray was a tennis player. His mom was a tennis player.
Yeah.
And I showed up one day. They were playing on the courts. And I said, "What's the secret? What do you have to do?" And they said, "Keep your eye on the ball."
Wow.
So I did.
Wow.
I've kept my eye, keep a tennis ball on my desk at all times to make sure that what I'm looking at is the goal from my childhood. I've kept that focus ever since then. I remember every single time I've had to focus since then. If you have a grocery list or if you have unpaid parking tickets, focus on it. Focus. Let's say you have a grocery list and you have chicken and you have rice and it's, well, you can't go today. Today is Tuesday. My grocery
bananas
store is
maybe.
only open. Yeah, banana. It's like a fine. Oh, what did I do? I
Tug?
need my keys.
Tug.
Yes.
So you've got a grocery list. You need to focus.
Focus. Focus. Oh, I'll focus. Okay, yeah. We're focusing on the ball. Okay? And the most important thing that the Murray said to me, they said, "You Tug Tuggerson,
Yeah.
focus your eyes on the ball." I never entered into any competitions. Everyone else just sort of, that day was rainy. And they said, well, we only, on all the ribbons, it only had one date on it. So they just gave me that ribbon, and I was the champion that day.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you took that ball, that symbolic ball, and you always keep that on your desk to remind you of your humble beginnings and of the power of focusing on one thing.
It eliminates distractions,
Yeah.
right? If you get distracted, or if you're not looking at what you're supposed to be doing, hold on here. Just need a dog.
Yeah.
I haven't fed it.
No.
Just give me a
Oh,
second.
that's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying about distraction.
Chimpsy.
Chimpsy?
Yeah.
Is Chimpsy?
Hold on.
Is Chimpsy going to be on the pod?
Chimpsy,
Okay.
hold on.
Got a dog situation there. Okay, great.
All right. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were we talking about here?
You know what? I forgot. Dwayne, you're gonna have to snip that section out.
Yeah, Dwayne, give that a good snip there. Thanks, Dwayne.
We'll just cut right into this one. Tug.
Mhm.
I will never forget the first time I saw the video of you winning that championship. The video of you consoling your 11-year-old opponent was incredible. You made that opponent go from sobbing to smiling and laughing. Is this when you discovered your gift for helping other people?
I don't know if I have a gift for it as much as I have to do it to get what I want.
Oh, yeah.
That day,
Yeah.
that kid wanted to play. That was harrowing for him. And then I told him a joke. I said, knock, knock.
Yeah? Who's there?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who is there?
Wow. I never would have.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And the kid laughed.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, any kind of competition is what I try to do is just undercut everyone else. I focus as much as I can on undercutting so that I can be the winner.
You do such a good job of just harnessing the power of a knock-knock joke, of an anecdote, in order
Yeah.
to bring us to a state of enlightenment. You are an enlightener. And it's so clear just
Yeah.
by hearing your voice, by having this conversation with you, that kid was enlightened in that moment.
I don't want to have to get into a fight with you, but I will.
What?
I'm not an enlightener. I'm a
Okay.
focuser.
Okay.
Once you start to change the rules of the game, once you start to change the words, where are you? You're not refocused. Okay? That's the most important. My mother, when she died, after she was in the grave, on her obituary, I wrote, "Here lies my mother.
Yeah.
Focus."
Wow.
And so I stayed there, and I kept my eyes on it.
On your mother's epitaph, you put focus?
I put focus, and I did, and I focused on that, and it became a focus loop. Okay? Stayed there for 6 months.
I love that commitment to branding. That is a strong brand.
Thank you.
That's a perfect segue, because in your new book, you say that you didn't gain the ability to study deeply until after college. What did you study to become the expert on focusing?
Yeah, certainly, I started school, and I didn't know what exactly I wanted to study at the time.
Sure.
But I reached inside of my pocket, and I noticed that I had a penny, and then I noticed I had 2 pennies. That's 2 cents. If you were to add those together, then that's 4. And if you keep doing it, it's 8, 16.
Yeah. If you keep doubling it.
multiplying it by 2,
So if you
yeah.
keep 64,
Right.
120. I think 128 is next.
Yes.
And
It is.
252.
Tug.
We were asking.
So
we were
you're
asking
at your
about
school.
after college.
There I
Yeah.
was.
Thank you.
I'd finished college after I counted everything in my pockets, and I noticed I didn't study anything while I was there.
Yeah.
So at that point, I needed to focus, and so I did.
Yeah. Great. What did you focus on?
Focus.
Oh, right.
I focused on
Right. Of
focusing.
course. Of course.
In my esteemed opinion,
Yeah.
if you have to focus on something, but you're thinking about the thing you're focusing, you're not focusing. What are you doing?
You're dwelling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're distracted. You're off course. That is such a great story. So it was that failure to study, to focus in college, that was your big breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
7, 4, 3. There's a
Are
pizza place down the.
Are you ordering a pizza?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tug.
I don't know if I
So
can
speaking of universities,
Mhm.
Tug, are you good?
Mhm.
Okay. So speaking of universities, you have spoken at a lot of universities. There's a lot of demands on your time. You've given advice to graduating college students. Recently, you actually earned an honorary MD from Tufts University, and you gave a great speech there that went viral on YouTube Shorts. For those who still haven't seen that, can you give us your one top focus tip? Your one top life hack or biohack for new college graduates? How can a young, better you build formidable focus?
I'll give it to you in full right now. Don't use
Fantastic.
Uber because the
Okay.
fares on Uber aren't fair.
Okay.
They don't actually get the tips. They don't get all of it. Some of it goes somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. How does that translate into building a formidable focus?
Mm-hmm. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that when I gave that. I
Okay.
was just
Got it.
I wanted the students to know about Uber.
Yeah.
You were really keyed in on it. You were focused on maybe your
An
Uber ride up.
I had just gotten out of an Uber, if I remember correctly. I'd gotten out of an Uber.
Oh, so you were thinking about that. You had that on the mind. The idea was,
Wow.
does the tip actually go entirely to the driver? But it doesn't. That's a little known thing.
Mm-hmm. And I had my rain boots on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what? Okay, you had your rain boots on. So what? So
They're plastic. Maybe they're rubber.
okay, great.
I don't know exactly. Let me look it up.
Tug,
what they're made
Tug.
of.
What
You don't need
is-
to look it up. It's fine.
Tug, what is your number one tip to a young, better you for building focus?
If I had to go back, let's say it's a perfect environment. Let's say you've got a nice warm stove with some peach cobbler on top of it, and maybe there's a fire burning. You've got a little lap dog, not like you, a better dog than
Tug,
you, one that doesn't
and-
have to eat all the time. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Dr. Tuggerson.
Yes.
A piece of advice. Like, what is something that our better yous can do,
Focus.
maybe to become more? Yes.
How
To
how
become
do
more
they focus?
focused.
What is one concrete, specific piece of advice that you could give in one sentence? How can a young person focus better?
Sometimes I limit my focus
Oh, okay.
on focusing what I'm focusing on.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. Tug.
Yes.
There are people that can't focus in life. They can't focus in their relationships. They can't even focus on a beautiful rainstorm that's happening right in front of them.
So true.
Yes.
Now that you're one of the top influencers in the world in the power of focus, what is your main message to people who still can't get their focus?
I get this question a lot,
Yeah.
especially from people who don't know how to truly focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really take your eyes, if you were to take your eyeballs out of your head for a second, right?
Oh wow, that's a
Okay,
great
yeah.
metaphor.
And look at something different, right? Like your eyes aren't out totally. Like they're still inside. I don't want you to pull them out.
Your eyes are still connected.
If you can pull them out, how would that work? If you were to be able to pull them out, would they still be connected to you?
If
Or do you have
Tug, how do you help people who have tried to focus but they still can't get it right? They can't find their focus in their life, in their relationships, and even in their present experience. How do you help them? Tug, are you still there?
yes?
Okay.
And that's it. That's how you do it.
Okay, Tug, you used to be a member of the British royal family. However, you were kicked out.
That's correct.
Has that affected your ability to focus?
No, not at all. I use it. It's like
Really?
fuel. Yes.
Really?
It's like, have you ever been shunned?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been shunned before and it was horrible and I apologized and they took me back. So
Yeah.
it's a tough.
If you don't apologize
Yes.
and they don't take you back, that was in the contract, is that they wouldn't take me back and I had to stay out of the country.
Wow.
So that wasn't reasonable for me.
Our country's gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Or multiple countries. I'm not not sitting in one place per se.
Mm.
I'd like to go to Thailand or Taiwan,
Thailand is great. Very friendly people.
possibly like Colombia. That's a long flight though.
I know your show was in New Mexico. Have you thought about living in Old Mexico?
Hmm?
Your show was in New Mexico. Have
That's
you?
in the States.
The old Mexico, the original Mexico.
Exactly. Yeah. The original Mexico isn't actually the original Mexico. Little known fact.
Mm.
The original Mexico was actually just like it's a pole that's in England. Over off the side, there's a market where you can get some nice bread. It's good. They have sesames on it and whatever. They named a pole there. They named it, that's Mexico pole. And then somehow that name got moved over. But the bread, there's not croissants, but it's still buttery in some way. I can't remember. Margarine. That's what it is. I haven't used that word.
Yeah,
in
that's
so
not good for
long.
you.
I'm going to write that one down in my word
Seph, I
box.
think we might need to cut this one short.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Hey, you know what? Can you do me a favor, Tug? How about you lead us in one of your famous folk you, folk me, folk us exercises from your billion view TED Talk?
Yes. We would love for you to lead us in that folk you, folk me, folk us exercise from your TED Talk. That was legendary. We would love to experience that here on You But Better.
Normally, I have more people in the audience, so you'll have to pretend to be multiple people.
We've done
We
that
can
before.
definitely do
We'll
that.
it
And
right
keep
now.
in mind, we have millions of listeners. Our audience is huge. So you are reaching all of those people.
And when I do a TED Talk,
Yeah.
there's some things I have to have. I have to have two handlers, one of which is a countdown handler, one of which just has my juice box.
Oh.
So that's something I always do when I have that. So do one of you have a juice box and could bring it?
I can.
No.
Dwayne, can you get a juice box?
And then one of you will need to count down with me, and we'll count down to a focus. All right? We'll
Okay.
start from 70, and we'll go all the way down to 0. When we're
Okay.
at 0, we'll be focusing. And don't leave that stage once you're focusing, because once you leave the focus stage, you're no longer what?
Okay.
You're no longer
Focused.
what?
Focused.
Focused.
One of
Thank
you's got it. I'm worried about the other.
Thank you. Understood.
So let's start 70. 69.
69.
Just one of you.
68.
Just one of you. One
Okay.
of you.
Lex, you go ahead.
So we
You go
have
ahead.
to. So we're going to focus me, focus you, which is going to focus us. Okay. So count again. 70.
70.
No, we'll go opposite. You say 69, and I'll say 68. So 70.
Okay. 68.
No, wait. Hold on. What's before?
69.
There you go. Now we'll go to 67.
So we're saying different numbers.
Who is?
66.
You and I.
65. Focused.
64.
You and I. Focused.
63.
2.
61.
1, 1, 2, 1. 60. I messed up. That's me. Shit. Tug.
59.
Tug.
It's okay, Tug.
It's okay,
58.
Tug. We can edit this out. It's
Focus.
fine, Tug.
It's fine. We can edit this out.
Okay, let's try.
Tug, look, I
55.
think we get the idea here. There is a power in counting down from a high number and really honing your mind on those numbers.
54.
Getting to that 0 point where you're totally focused on what you have to do and what's ahead of us. Thank you so much for sharing that exercise. That was powerful. Thank you so much. This has been outstanding. I think we learned a lot, and I think we learned that focus is not as straightforward as you might think.
I have to agree with Tug because I also agree that focus is something that you can do one thing at a time, as we saw with the master himself. He was focused on one thing. He jumped into another thing and was locked into that. And you can stay as focused as the great Tug Tuggerson if you listen to the podcast, you listen to our podcast, and you listen to his. Thank you so much for coming onto the pod, Tug.
Don't accept anything that's out your realm of focus. Just don't.
Thank you, Tug. You, but better. Friends, thank you for listening and becoming a better you.
And if you haven't followed us on social media yet, you haven't fully committed. Find those social links in the episode description.
Also, please rate and review us on your podcast listening app. It helps more people find this podcast and become totally enlightened.
And remember, don't just be you, be
You, but better.